Hey guys, welcome to Isaiah's Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing this Ryobi electric riding mower. This is a year and 3 months. I've had this for a year and 3 months. So we're just going to cruise around. I already mowed with this, but I have not weed whipped, weed eated, or trimmed, however you want to say that, so that we can see how well it edges and gets up, because I think that's kind of the only thing that sucks about it is like the turning radius and getting into stuff, because I hate weed eating, trimming, weed whipping. I hate all that. But this is what it sounds like. A little squeaky. I will say that my yard, if you look around out there, needs rolling. So I need to roll this thing out. It's got some divots all in it. And that, speaking of that, there's no suspension. So it's pretty bumpy, pretty rough. Your pelvis will get a little workout trying to keep your head straight and let your hips do the talking. I am exactly halfway, and I cut this a little lower. Right here is your cutting. So you have 4.5 inches down to 1.5 inches. I cut this at 3 inches. Typically I'm at 3.5. But we did it a little bit different today, because this is probably the last mow of the season. Thank goodness. And the good thing is you can see the potential dormancy underneath, but really I just cut a little bit too much off, so I knocked a lot of that good stuff off the ends. But let's go over here and look at how the turning radius, because I have a you can see where the mulch is right here. See that mulch right there? And that's as close as I can get. I'll show you. I'll try to do this one-handed because there is no power steering. But you can see, trying to go around something, your wheel's going to hit it. Your deck's just not wide enough. Like, this isn't narrow enough. Deck's not wide enough to get into stuff. So you have to make a bunch of different passes in order to get it all, you know, like this. Boom, I can get that, and then I'll come back, try to get a piece like this, and then come back until you get it as small of a diameter, and then just edge the rest or something. But I had a snapper mower, the one with the motor in the back, the Forrest Gump mower, and I loved it. And when I saw this, I was like, oh man, this is kind of reminds me of the snapper. But no, it's not at all. This thing's like a beefy tank, because it's pretty heavy, because all those golf cart batteries that's in there, those lead acid batteries. I thought too, so the handling's not there. So if you're thinking, oh, I had a snapper, or oh, I had a rear engine mower, the wheelbase was probably more narrow than this one. I guess they have to have it wide to accommodate the appropriate amount of lead acid batteries, but the rear wheels get in the way of the narrow deck, and then you have to come at it in a bunch of different angles to get a little mow around something. What else? Whenever I change the blades out, I have to put this thing up on an ATV, like a small engine jack. It's like you drive the front two wheels up on it, and it jacks the whole thing up, and then you could use a little creeper, and get underneath there and take the blades off. I thought I could just stand it up on its back, because it has this back bar back there, but you can't, because if anything ever hits that tongue, that little toe plate, it's gonna bend it. It's deceiving. Like, let's look. See that right there? It's really not that thick. It's pretty thin. It's a very thin gauge. It's a little deceiving in areas, but overall, I'm dogging it. But I do like it, because I don't ever have to worry with changing the oil, gas. Only thing I have to worry with is sharpening blades, changing blades, and keeping the airs in the tires. And speaking of tires, out of this year and some months that I've had it, the first start of this season, I had to change the little stem in there. It was just bled completely out. Like, I guess it happens, but I haven't had to do it on a riding mower in, I can't tell you how long, but for it to be at that moment, I've only used it a few months of the mowing season. It went through winter, and then I was using it. But the stem had to be replaced because it just let all the air out and it didn't work. It wouldn't hold the air in. But super cheap fix, like $2 per pack. It comes with the tool to do it with. Really easy. But that's been it. The tires are in perfect shape. Everything else is held. Tire pressure is great. This is where as close I can get. Right there. See the green? That's as close as I can get. It's pretty close. Not bad. And then over here, of course, a bunch of different passes. Get around this support beam here for the swing set. So that's typical, you know, typical. Right here, it's as close as I can get. But everything else is great, and it makes this whiny noise. And I am half, and I have, so you can see there, 11.2 hours. And the weird thing too, this is the second time this has happened. I don't know if it has to do with the temperature outside or the battery conditioner, like the little power brick. They want you to leave it plugged in all the time so it can go in this deep cycle maintenance and stuff to prolong the use out of this, because you should be able to get like 8 years out of this before you have any major issues with the batteries. So that's for 8 to 10 years. That's what someone had figured up based on an average of hours per year or something like that. So you may get more or less. Like me, I may get more. I don't know. But when I first unplugged it to start to use it, this time it was 2 bars knocked off right at the start. So I don't know if it lets it drain down a little bit and gives it more, drains down, fills it up, drains it down a little bit, fills it up. That's part of that maintenance on the batteries, but I might have just caught it at the wrong time. It's only happened one other time, so I think it's just part of how it conditions the batteries and stuff like that. But I really like it. I wish Snapper would make one, because I think I would go with that. See, the turning radius is kind of like, oof, and you don't get the power steering. There's power nothing except for the juice to go, so that whenever you turn this like this, like sometimes it can push forward while the wheels are still turned, and you gotta fight it, and that's why I put these little hand things on here to help not tear my skin off. So I recommend those. I'll try to leave links to everything I talk about, including the lawnmower jack, which was just from Harbor Freight, so it's like the cheapest thing. I think it's $90 for that with a coupon. And I don't know what else I was talking about. But yeah, I mean, it's just super simple mower. Oh, I wish Snapper would make one, but that thing would probably be 3 times the price of this. Like, make one like this. They may, I don't know, but I bet it's gonna be high, because the Cub Cadet, they make one, and I think it was 3 times the price of this, but it has lithium batteries, which is pretty cool. But these lead acids, man, you can have them more a decade. I mean, that's a long time for, like, I can't remember what I paid for it. There's a video that I made over a year ago that was the uncrating and putting it together and all that kind of stuff. I highly suggest you go watch that one right away, so that you can see what this looks like brand new, and some of the things that I mentioned. Everything I mentioned still holds true today. I think that's all I have. I recommend it. It's been doing good, and sometimes you may catch it on its battery maintenance. I really think that's what happened, because this is the second time, only the second time it's done it. A little 1/4 acre yard here. This is a decent sized backyard for a subdivision, but I have a really small front yard. So let's listen to what the blades sound like. Really don't have to wear hearing protection. It's not that loud at all. I know my engine mower is super loud, and I wore hearing protection. So this electric stuff is super nice. I can still hear a little bit around me. So I got little kids. Having this battery is just nice. Anyway, that's all I have. Make sure to explode on that subscribe button and ding that bell so you get notified on the next ride about that we do, or review, or whatever. See ya.